We're glad to have you back. It's still your business, Nigeria. Now, Nigeria, like any other developing country, engages in taxation in order to generate revenue with which to finance public administration and publicly provide economic and social services. The success of a country's tax policies in providing the above depends on the efficiency of its tax system, which is embedded in the tax structure in that economy. Now, technological advancement, no doubt, has completely changed the way we live, work, and transact businesses. With economic disruptions caused by COVID-19 pandemic, more reliance has been placed on technology. And this has made tax authorities identify the need to change their work approach in ensuring filing audits and other administrative activities. Now, as governance and other administration needs to go on, it is imperative for tax authorities in Nigeria to explore a taxpayer-friendly and technology-driven revenue administration characterized by efficient, paperless operations equipped with ICT-enabled risk-based enforcement to optimize revenue mobilization in the country. Well, moving on, like I said earlier, telling you about the coming up to discuss more insights on how Nigeria can take advantage of technology to strengthen its tax system. I have joining me again via Skype is the West Africa tax leader at Deloitte, Mr. Yomi Olugbero. Mr. Olugbero, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so very much, Tolu. Good to be on your show.
Yes, it's been a while. Actually, we are on our Ofcom platform. The DSTV platform is where the live is going on, so you can still be watched everywhere around the world. So let's keep up with our discussion, and we'll link back to DSTV when we are done with the live coverage. But I saw you in Abuja. And I saw you on that panel. I listened to your submission, the chairman of FRS and the chairman of that very group. Now, first of all, I want you to take us through technology and taxation. Is that the way to go? Or is it COVID-19 that has opened our eyes to all of the positives in technology and taxation?
Wow, all right. Thanks, Tolu. So you are very right that COVID-19 pandemic opened our eyes to the enormity of the benefit and the potential we could get from leveraging technology to run virtually every aspect of our life, including taxation. But I must say that it's not just because of the pandemic, and when we talk technology and tax optimization, it's not just for the time of the pandemic when movement is restricted and you are constrained to using digital platform. It's in fact the only way to be able to get really ahead in the kind of tax penetration, that we're talking about. So prior to pandemic, many agencies of tax and many tax authorities across the country have been deploying ways and means, of leveraging technological tools in assessing, in collecting, in paying, in running different aspects of the tax administration. And for the reasons that we all know it is. So there's a lot more that you can do when you digitize, all right? So no matter how much of budget that's available, there's just a limit to the number of manpower and the number of headcounts that the revenue authorities could have in their offices. Imagine a country as large as Nigeria, and with the amount of resources that is available in terms of manpower to FRS. So we're not going to be able to get everybody on board, monitor compliance, make sure that evasion and avoidance is tackled as much as possible unless we use technology. So technology, it's not a nice to have when it comes to tax administration. It's not just a response to the pandemic. It's indeed one major solution that we need to leverage to be able to solve and answer many of the questions that is boggling us. So in the country, we've always talking about low tax penetration, meaning that many people who are supposed to be within the tax net are not there. I mean, this is one area that technology can be deployed. There are tools, there are solutions that will make sure that everyone that is involved in digital, in any financial transactions can be seen, can be visible. That's technology for you. If you say that you are not collecting enough because there are leakages, because when some of these taxes are collected, they are not remitted, one solution is to, when you digitize the process, you eliminate human interference. You eliminate the middlemen, and the money moves straight from the taxpayer straight to the revenue authorities. That's technology for you. All right. So if you are dealing with the issue of culture, that even in a system where you will gather 10 taxpayers and 7 of them will tell you point blank that they know that they are not paying as much as they should do, but they don't feel any, anything wrong in that because they think maybe government is not doing enough with what they've had and all of that. So it's going to take a while before you will get a culture of full compliance. So technology is one way of forcing everybody to do whatever they need to do. So there's just so many areas that when we leverage technology appropriately, we will be able to grow our revenues the way we're looking at. And that's why every tax authorities around the world are trying to, as much as possible, digitize the system, eliminate middlemen, and make sure that we can optimize collection.
Before I move on, I want to play the devil's advocate here now. When we say technology, we're going to reduce human face and all of this, Mr. Lumero, will this not lead to job losses in any form? Or is it going to, are we going to create new jobs?
No, absolutely. So if you leverage technology appropriately, what you do is to allow technology to do more efficiently what humans will and can do, and then you deploy that man hour to do behind the scene what technology won't easily do or readily do for you. So say for example, when you digitize the system, so you eliminate a lot of paper-based and human interaction with the filing processes and all of that. So there's a lot of man hour that is going to be saved from that, and then you can focus back end on intelligence. You can focus back end on data mining. You can focus on when you then need to do enforcement and physical inspection and all of that. So what currently happens is that the entirety of the process or the bulk of it is still requiring physical human intervention, and that's why we're not achieving enough. So it's not going to be in the nearest future that deployment of technology is going to lead to job losses. It's only going to create different kind of work, and it's going to let man do what man should do best, which is thinking through the solution, mining the data, and following up on what the statistics and what the numbers are doing, and let technology run 24/7, do the collection, do the administration, do the analysis, and then let man use the information as much as is maybe necessary.
Okay, but we have challenges in this part of the world: infrastructure, power, our networks, and all of this. How do you see this also affecting the easy implementation of all of this technological advancement, all of these positives in technology? How do you see our challenges as a country? Now I'm facing Nigeria now as a country. How do you see it impeding us actualizing all of this beautiful lofty goals?
Well, that's quite true, because the tax system doesn't exist in isolation, right? So we are part of the bigger system. We are part of the bigger country, and whatever is facing the country from an infrastructure challenges, particularly those relating to technology and digitization, the tax administration will face a fair share of it. And what that then means is that we realize that these challenges are there and we tackle them head on, right? So every other countries of the world where the solutions are being deployed, they also have to fix, their issues and challenges. So if we realize that, digital penetration, quality of network will be one that will answer, a number of our questions. All right, so including tax administration, including collection and all of that, then we take that as a major investment area where funds needs to go, where effort needs to go, and where a lot of focus needs to be devoted, because the benefits are enormous. The benefits are enormous. So it's all about where do you want to put your money so that the reward and the investment can be what your wire. So many of the challenges that some of the tax authorities are facing is actually the exact reason. I mean, the point you are talking about. So as we speak, a number of agencies have portal, all right, where taxpayers are supposed to file their returns or use in processing one aspect of their tax administration or the other, and we know what experience they have when it comes to the bandwidth. When it comes to the infrastructure supporting all of this solution at the back end. So it will require that we recognize how critical this infrastructure is, because it's not all about just designing an interface where the look and feel on the outer layer looks beautiful, but behind the scene, the machine, the engine, the infrastructure, the data, the bandwidth that's supposed to make for a very seamless, very user-friendly user interface is not there. So it's a real challenge. It's facing us. We are in it at the moment, but it's recognizing that this is critical, and it's not just a nice to have. That will help us to channel appropriate resource in dealing with them.
I'm also forced to ask that: will this outrightly put a stop to tax evasion in Nigeria if properly implemented?
Well, I don't think that it's when you talk of human systems, human beings will always find ways and means of running around whatever system or enforcement mechanism that you have channeled. But what you will have is that you will have significantly reduced the capacity of anyone to continue to evade taxes when you leverage technology. There is a lot of man no man, that is involved when you have physical interaction, right? But when people respond to the machine, when people respond to the system, information are extracted directly from the system, and information are compared with your returns, based on what the system is giving. You have limited the capacity of anyone to be able to use the, who is who status, political exposure, corporate stamina, and all of that to be able to get away with daylight murder, like we sometimes currently do have. So the short answer is that yes, it may not completely eliminate, but it would have reduced it significantly to the kind of margin that may be tolerable, and that's what is applicable every other part of jurisdiction. I don't think there's any economy anywhere where the tax authority will beat its chest and say there is no taxpayer, corporate or individual that is trying to play the system. No, but the system will always evolve. The system will always provide intelligences. The system will always provide the data to go in chase of anyone that is trying to cut corners.
Of course, that is what we should expect. Now, Mr. Olugbe, it's always an opportunity having. I need to also ask you this question because we talk about increasing the tax net, and I think this is also part of the moves. This will also help achieve that. What about the issue of the informal and formal sector? I've heard about that many times when professionals like you in the tax administration speak. Now, what are we doing about that? Not necessarily increasing any form of tax. We know what's happening. Inflation just came out today, and we know what's happening Nigerians are grappling with. So what do you make of us bringing in informal, formal taxes and all of that to expand this net?
Well, Tolu, I think my perspective on that area has changed slightly in the recent past. And it's very simple. The reason is because I acknowledge the fact that there is a lot that can still be done when we bring the informal sector, into the mainstream, and we're able to collect a lot more from them. But the question to ask is, how successful have we been with the sector that is already formalized? So and if you look at any jurisdiction anywhere in the world, the top 5%, we typically pay close to 90%, or 80% or something in that particular range. So the amount of effort that we're going to invest chasing those that are in the cash economy those whose system, whose operations are, not necessarily yet within the financial space, the amount of effort that we're going to invest in that area won't yield as much, not a fraction of the result we will get when we concentrate on where the numbers are. And mind you, when you do the analysis of this so-called informal sector very critically, you realize that there is a large chunk of them that will still fall within the threshold of micro and small businesses. And when you get to that point, you know that the current system over the last 2 years is that the small and micro businesses are being, taken off the burden of tax payment. So for everyone whose annual revenue is less than 20 million naira, you are not required to pay any income tax, company income tax, no education tax. You are no longer required to be involved in filing tax returns or charging VAT on your invoices. If you have maybe up to 25 million naira, you have a reduced tax rate, as a medium player. So the majority of the people that are supposed to be real informal, I mean, the core guys whose operations are pure, hand-to-hand trading in Idumota, niche market in Kaduna, a large percentage of them will still qualify for tax exemption, that, currently exists. So for me, I think until we get to a point where we put our energy and focus on where the yield and the result will be significant, we will only just be dissipating energy in an area where we're not going to get so much. Let's optimize collection where the big numbers are. Let's focus on the taxpayer identification project that is going on, where for everyone who's have transaction within the financial sector, you cannot not have your tax ID, pardon that double negative, so you need to be able to link your BVN to your national ID, to your tax identification number, and let's extract enough from those who are making so much from the system, and when we get to a certain level of comfort, we can then focus energy on how to then bring those who are real informal, and if you look at the informal sector as well, so it's not everything that this informal sector players do that are really informal. Many of them bring in products and goods from outside of the country. They pass through the system, so there's some element of formality. They pass through the custom, they pass through the clearing. Some of them have transactions with financial institutions, they have loans. So there's an aspect of their business that is formalized. Some of them do trade with large corporate organizations. And so there's some element of formality. So if you eliminate all of those, you are left with the real, trading customer to customer transactions that happen in the real market. I know it's still quite a lot, but that's not where the real money will come from. So let's focus on the formal sector, optimize that to the extent possible. Let all of the big players, politically exposed, the business tycoons, the celebrities, and everyone whose bulk of their transactions are within the formal sector. Let's get the most out of that before we get to a situation where we're chasing the rest of the guys that are very, very informal in the marketplace.
Oh, all right. You said those are making enough from the system. Thank God, journalists like us, we are not really making enough from the system, so I think we should be excluded.
but I see some of you. So on the social media, you guys are the verified guys showing us your first class and business class travel tickets. So there must be some ways and means by which this money come through, Tolu.
Okay, let's wrap up in maybe just 1 minute. What's your projection for the sector as we move on for 2020? What's for tax revenue? How do you see FRS wading through this storm? Government needs revenue at this time. What are you looking at as we move in the year?
I'm quite optimistic. I think for 2021, I'm hoping that FRS can set a record collection. Last year, during the pandemic, they hit about 5 trillion, just a little below what we did in 2019, and maybe some 300 billion below what was done in 2018, which still stand as the year of record collection in Nigeria. So my guess is that if that happened in the year when the pandemic was as as the business shutdown was at its highest, was at its peak. The country went into recession during that particular period. Business is opening up now. There's a lot coming in from the benefit of the increase in VAT that was done the year before. A lot of money coming from some of the other indirect tax initiatives that the government is embarking on. And I've seen a lot more energy, a lot more activity as the business continues to open. So my expectation is that 2021, I want to see FRS at least go over the 5.3 trillion that was made in 2018. So it's my own prediction that 2021 may just end being the year with the record highest collection.
All right there. Thank you so very much for your time. West Africa tax leader, Deloitte, Mr. Yomi Olugbenro. I appreciate this. We don't take it for granted. Thank you for spending your afternoon with us.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to talk to you, Tolu.
All right there.